Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 239. Club Z comes full circle. Recorded on Friday, February 24th, 2023 from Zenatta Consulting. I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
Yes, we shall. It's been a good week. Looking forward to the weekend. By the way, I want to thank everybody who supported our new endeavor, which is Zenatta Training. We've got our team training for CRM that we launched. Had a huge uptake on that. Basically, if you missed it, the announcement last week, if you go to zenatta.com/training, tell you all about it. But we're running a discount for the next 4 days, Tyler. I think it ends on the 28th.
4 more days. Yep. Just till the end of February.
Rather than $1,000 for your entire company, it's $550 for the entire company. So if you got 5 people, you got 500 people. It's just that one price, and everybody. Anytime you hire someone on your team, you can put them through that 7-day CRM training course. So we thought that that might be something people wanted, and it turns out it was, Tyler.
So lots of good feedback already. We've got kind of a couple tweaks and additions that we're already kind of planning to make. So keep the feedback coming, everybody, and let us know what you think. Yeah, I think in even bigger news, Brett, you got your braces off yesterday. A new man. If Brett seems more chipper than usual to any of our viewers, it's because he is now free. He can eat caramel apples. It's
I know my long journey into darkness. By the way, this was not a vanity thing. This was a crazy 6-year disaster that started with a tooth being pulled in the back, led to a month of hospitalization and $500,000 in medical bills. Led to, we're going to put you in Invisalign for anyway. My God, anyway, here I am.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's good. No, God, you're right though. I have to tell you though, Tyler, man, it is so nice when they're popping those things off, and then they polish your teeth and they put them back, and you're like, oh. Anyway, it's great. It's great. Yep, chewed gum. That was my other big thing. Just wanted to chew some gum. Didn't know how much I missed that.
Little things.
I know. All right, well, guys, let's get into announcements and events. Well, this kind of has to do with Club Z coming full circle. The title of the show. So we have moved Club Zenatta. It's still club.zenatta.com. That's how you get to it. But we used to use a software that was a WordPress plugin, actually almost a WordPress override, its own application really, called Buddy Boss. And we'd use that for a while, but really felt like our community had completely outgrown it. And so we have moved to a brand new software that is running it called circle.co. We are really happy.
Cool. Yeah, it does a great job. The UI is much better at this point. I think, Brett, the team was able to move over pretty much all the posts, pretty much everything that was going on, and the old version is moved over.
So where we are is all the posts got moved over with even the people who made those posts. All of the events are moved over. Actually, from our website, we moved events over here, and I'll talk about that just in a minute as well, which is why we're here for announcements and events. We also took all of the almost 700 members, and you got an email, and that email's wrong because the original email that was sent out was based on the URL before we changed our DNS and made club.zenatta.com work for this. So you're going to get another email. Click on that. It's got all your information in here. Once you just put your email address in, all your old posts, all that stuff will be there. You will want to refill out your profile and upload your picture. But we think you're really going to love this. I mean, a lot of work to change over this. So it was a big decision for us to even decide that it was worth it. But at the end of the day, I think everybody's going to love it. So, Club Z, it's basically our area where people can congregate and talk about, their problems with Zoho. You've got the home area, which we're looking at right now. If you're watching us on YouTube, if you click into general discussion, these are all of our, the same little groups that we had before. You can see who's in the group at any time on the upper right-hand corner there as well. We've got our usual code share. and we moved over all the code shares. Kind of super nice too. One of the reasons we did this, by the way, is that um, you never had the ability to keep your comments threaded. So, now you actually have actual threaded comments around what you're doing. So it's super nice that way as well. And then over on the announcements, they're kind of broken down. So I've kind of played with this, but if you head over to Zenatta, it will talk about, this is our show going live right now because it's actually happening live in real time. But you have the various events that are going on. So the next CRM Zen show is going to be on March 3rd. On March 7th, we're doing an entire SMS for Zoho with message media. But if you'll see down here, this is just us now, and you've got the Zoho stuff below. But to RSVP now, to sign up for these events is so simple. You just click the RSVP button and you say add it to your calendar, and ask you what calendar you want to add it to. And it is just there and done, and you're RSVP'd, and you click you're done. And then, you're going to show up. It says that you're going when you're in here. It's going to show you all the people that are going. Really cool. On Zoho, of course, you're going to have to go to their events themselves. So, but if you click into any of the events here, we're really able to give you some super nice information. You can still add it to your calendar, which is cool. But of course, you are going to need to go ahead and click the registration button, as it were, to go over and register for the various events. And then so it's kind of nice, I think, because we're going to be able to break these down by, hey, here's our stuff, here's Zoho stuff, here's some other events that we found that are of interest, and we actually can put the announcements in here. So we also doing nice links to our training, our YouTube channel. You can kind of get around pretty quickly wherever you want to go here. Anyway, fantastic stuff. We hope you like it. So when you got that email, I had a couple people reaching out to me saying, hey, is this spam? Am I being trolled here, fished? Give me your new credentials to log into Clubzy. You're not. It's real. So we hope to see you over here. So as many people as we can, come on over. And that's it for events, Tyler. Actually, we didn't really talk about events, but I guess in the world of events, we have a couple. We're doing our SMS webinar with message media and our Zoho desk this month. And Zoho, nothing really has changed. They've got their Discover Zoho. They've got their focus group webinars, just kind of, everything we talked about previously. But they are rolling out a full suite of events. I mean, it just goes. March is packed from the 1st to the 31st. They've got something going on. Starting to see April fill up. I really like the way it breaks this down by months too, huh? Super nice.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yes. So anyway, guys, that's the new Club Z, and that is where you will now find events. So you'll just head over to club.zenatta.com and then click on the events tab, and away you go. And with that, let's get into the news. So Tyler, this is kind of cool. Zoho CRM has had an email parser. If you're not familiar with an email parser, basically you can say when an email comes in to this email address, usually it's a BCC or something like that. So you're getting an email and you're forwarding it to the CRM in essence. It's going to go through, read that email, and basically parse it and pull out various bits of data and create a record for you. It has been, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. It was always an okay parser.
Right. Well, they are getting rid of that parser on June 1st, 2023. And the new parser has actually been rolled out now. And so it looks, Tyler, have you played? Did this just drop? Have you had a chance to play with it?
Yeah, I haven't played with it much. As a general rule, if we don't have to use an email parser, we won't. Even the best email parser in the world is not as good as a direct integration. You're just never going to get the same amount of control and specificity. But essentially, they're making this thing work a lot more flexibly, right? So previously, the big problem was that really any type of email that wasn't like a strict form email with very defined structure was just never going to work. And so they're doing it a little bit more dynamically here. So you're able to configure it kind of outside of just like specific delimiters. The interesting thing is, you're gonna have to train it a little bit. It's supposed to try to like identify things in context. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see, I sent it a demo email here. Hello, my name is John Smith. I am head of sales at ABC Corp. And you can identify that head of sales corresponds to title. Now, as you can imagine, Brett, like that could say I serve as head of sales or I work as head of sales. So there's going to be some learning that's going to have to go in, but the long-term benefit is that hopefully they'll be able to parse information out of real emails that aren't just forms, and have that right to your Zoho environment.
That's going to be difficult. I mean, the normal use for a parser is
a form email.
Right. You have an email that, you're subscribing to, you're a real estate agent and you're buying leads from Zillow, and, they basically give you a lead, and those leads are formatted. It's got the person's first and last name, and it's got that, there's a nice format to it. You can kind of pull those out. This looks like wow, you talk about a lot of training to go through and parse out these keywords. Anyway, hopefully this works. I mean, I just would like to see it work better on form stuff, because that was kind of, just on some basic forms that might have some trouble. So it's good that they made this change. It looks quite extensive. So
yeah, one little interesting I'll highlight too is that they're actually allowing you to parse but not create a record. You can actually parse it just directly into a custom function. Which is pretty cool, because a lot of the times when we use a parser, we dump it into like a parsing module, because we don't want it to hit our data without some checks and balances, right, going in where we can kind of scan it daily, make sure it's good. So being able to just point one of these directly to a function and not have to create like an arbitrary module, right, that just lives to accept this data, it's kind of a nice ease of use thing for the developers in the house.
Yeah. So the new parser is available. When you go back to email parser, you can switch to the new parser and start using it. And the other one is going to go away on June 1st, 2023. Very cool. Moving on with the news. So basically, man, we never see anything for Zoho landing page. So
some of those weird apps, you still have to ask them to add it to your Zoho One account. It's been around since 2021, actually. I learned the other day. But it's still in this weird licensing limbo. But technically, it is included with Zoho One. So if you do want this and you have Zoho One, you just have to ask, and they will add it for you.
And basically, it's an application that allows you to create landing pages. Yes.
Yep. In essence,
that's its sole purpose.
It's like Unbounce, right? Essentially, it's just a place to create like where you would drop someone after a Google ad, a very targeted page to get a form fill. In essence.
All right, so you can now, it looks like using Google Ads and Zoho CRM, you're going to be able to monitor and track your PPC and landing pages in your CRM database, and they're giving you some interesting reports around this. I'm trying to say, it's hard for me to parse this. We really don't use landing page all that much. So I'm guessing from what I'm looking at here, this is actually from landing page, not CRM.
But it's essentially like if you were to click a Google ad, you come through to landing pages with your UTM parameters. Landing page sends those to CRM. And then if the deal wins, the revenue comes back to landing page to know how much rev you got from a particular UTM campaign. It's good. This is a step in the right direction. It's really honestly something that we have to do lots and lots of custom work to do these types of reports. These aren't going to be as granular as some of the stuff that we're doing when we pull everything into Zoho Analytics, but for a more straightforward kind of implementation, it could definitely save a lot of time.
Yeah. And it's nice. I mean, you're getting your total spend with AdWords, you're getting your total revenue, you're getting your ROI. So this, you kind of have this in CRM. Have they made improvements to the pulling in the Google information into CRM?
They haven't touched that plugin in so long, at least to my knowledge, the native CRM one.
Yeah.
So maybe this is where some of that effort's been going, is more on the landing page side of the house.
Well, if they've got it working here, I'm sure it's working over there. But I mean, that was always cool because you could then associate with a deal, and then you were kind of looking at ROI. And for the longest time, I mean, I don't know, it's been years and years, but we were spending a lot of money on Google Ads, if you remember, right? And it was tracking pretty good. We could kind of see where it was coming from and what our ROI was. So anyway, nice stuff for the landing page community. And you're not going to believe it. We have not one, but 2 landing page stories. So
Probably the
they
first
are
2 since they released it, I would think.
in the history of Zoho landing page. Um, they now have a built-in SEO assistant for your landing pages. So that is search engine optimization. So if you're building a page, oftentimes people will use Yoast or some of these other SEO tools
Mhm.
that help you kind of optimize the words on your page so that it might get better traffic organically picked up through SEO, where Google's going to read it and say this actually has some value, and I'm going to put it out there on page 1 of a generalized search without you paying for it. So they're doing some nice little SEO stuff on the landing pages for you now, so you don't
That's
have to
nice.
buy a third party tool.
Yeah,
Very
it's really
cool.
slick. I mean, a lot of the times, right, you kind of think about landing pages more in the terms of pay-per-click advertising, but you could absolutely have a topic-based landing page that you're, shooting for that organic traffic. So
Yep.
being able to kind of scan that, scrape it, you'd have to see with whenever there's like a, SEO evaluator tool, I'd always be curious to like compare it to Yoast, right? Kind of one of the market leaders, like how similar is the response and evaluation.
Yeah.
But yeah, that works well. That'll be pretty nice for, I would imagine, a lot of people that are doing this.
All righty. So congrats to the landing page team. Good to hear from you. Let's get more stories in the weeks to come. All right. And then over on the Zoho blog, you can now elevate your business identity and authenticity with Zoho Voice's all new call branding services.
This is something they came up with, right, themselves.
Yeah, so basically that sentence translates to Zoho Voice now supports caller ID. So you can actually it will send your caller ID through to the person receiving the call. So before you didn't have the ability to actually send your information, attach it to the phone number so that the standard telephony would understand it, but now you do. And there's a whole article on why that's important, which is literally hysterical. Um, and showing it coming in on various devices. So anyway, hey, caller ID was Zoho Voice now, which is super, super important. I did
Yeah,
not know it.
absolutely.
I did not know it did not support it because it's just such a standard thing that every telephony solution you can go ahead and, put your company name in or your name in, and it's going to go ahead and display that out. So, but now there you go. Zoho
Big
Voice.
update.
It's not, but you know what? From now on, when I get a call, I'm gonna say, wow. I'm not gonna say there's no caller ID. I'm gonna say, wow, there's no
No
call
call.
branding. There's no call branding on this number. I don't know. Nice, Freddie.
Oh, there it is.
All right. And moving on. Zoho Analytics, new features rolled out 3 days ago. Tell us about them.
Yeah, I love this top one. So this overview effect for charts. It took me a second from looking at this to really understand what exactly this is doing. This basically like, let's say, Brett, you and I wanted to have a report of, hours billed month over month, and I make that report all the way back to 2020. What this allows you to do is you just dynamically, while you're looking at it, can like select a period at the bottom to review, right? So you could have all of the data available, but with kind of like an easy slider kind of section to say, I want to look at this particular subset of this entire report. That's really
Okay.
nice. I mean, we do a lot of things where we'll
Nice.
create multiple versions of reports and things just to set some of these kind of filters. So that's pretty slick, just being able to really easily kind of slide through and determine what, date periods or sections you want to see on particular data. Um, a cool one here as well is image support for kind of KPI widgets. And it looks like charts. They only say KPI widgets in the article, but it's on a chart as well. So I'm going to
Yep.
assume that it's actually going to be for both. This is essentially a way where you can associate a image URL in Zoho Analytics and then actually have that show up. So if you're watching us on YouTube, we'll see that they've got a KPI for like most sold product. And
Yep.
next to it is a picture of a phone, right? And they've
Right.
got a bar chart of top selling products. And under each bar is the picture of the product. Um, so pretty cool. It looks like they are based on URLs. The interesting thing will be like if I have all my items in books and they all have product image URLs, are those going to make it over? That'll be the
Yeah.
big question. If I have to add all these again in analytics, it's not going to happen. But if they can source them from wherever the data actually comes from, oh man, this would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
A couple
And
others, preset user filters. So user filters up at the top of the page on a dashboard are like a easy way for a user to apply a date, an owner, right? Any of these filters. Presets are basically bundles of filters. So again, a benefit to the YouTube viewers, if you're seeing us there, you'll see we've got filters for timeline and country. And then you could have presets for this year Canada, this year USA, right? To just kind of be able to apply multiple user filters at once. Again, little thing, but a lot of usability there. And then really just kind of a slew of other kind of backend updates, a couple things around filtering, include, exclude rules, more fields from a couple areas, which is always nice. Right, so a couple more things from projects, from Google Ads,
yeah,
lots of stuff around video performance, it looks like. So kind of handful of good updates here across the platform.
So I'm kind of curious. I'm looking at your KPI widget thing here. Adding widgets. I'm just wondering if it's going to pull them in. Looks like no. Looks
Image.
like
Yes, I'll have to see. I have to see exactly where all that comes from. Now, that
yeah,
being said, at the end of the day, right, you could very well just create a reference table
yeah.
in there, right? And anytime you have a new product, you load it in and then you do a SQL join. But hopefully they'll get to a place where we could source that. It'd be cool to bring in your logos from accounts, right? In CRM, be able to
Yeah.
bring in your product images. So I'm sure that's on the roadmap. If it's not, maybe Zoho put it on there. And otherwise, a pretty nice update.
Yes, it is. All right. And then the Zoho Office team, who never rests, Zoho Writer now has the ability to add citations and a bibliography. So it's just point and click, highlight, pop it in. It's got a whole citations and bibliography section now. So if you're not familiar,
Nice.
basically if you're writing a technical article and you need to have citations and you want to reference them in the end, you can actually easily do that now. And it will actually create the bibliography for you. That's all that information at the bottom of the article or at the end of your paper, which is referencing all of the notes in your paper. So it's slick.
Like it supports APA and MLA, so kind of nice. You'll be able to do either of the two kind of most popular, right, kind of
Yeah.
citation formats. This is always my least favorite thing to do in college. So the fact that it'll actually do the formatting for you, I did miss a handful of points here and there on an assignment because I messed up my formatting. It's kind of a nice one, right? I mean, anything you're doing, if you're going to source things, it's always good to have that kind of list of citations, and why not make it easy?
Yeah. I just
Oh, and you've got
prefer.
a library too. That's real
Oh,
cool. I didn't see that the first time I skimmed this. You can actually save a whole library. So if you reuse citations, you can
uh-huh.
just drop them right back in. That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah,
I
this is that stuff you mentioned this a lot whenever we talk about the Office suite, but like they add these features that you really don't see. Like our other platform we'll use is Google, right? We use Gmail and Google Calendar, so we kind of have the whole G Suite. I can't think of the last thing they like added to Google
no.
Docs or like added to Google Sheets. It's not that they're bad; it's just they don't
Yeah.
seem to be doing much with them. Or the Zoho
What?
team, I mean, it's like when do they sleep? When does this Office team sleep? They get so much done.
I know. And we live in this. So I think this is, I actually use Writer and I use Sheets and yeah, I think they're great applications. So it's very, very, very nice
Yeah,
to have
good
this.
job,
So
Office team.
yeah. But I wonder about this, citations, because don't we live in a world where truth is just your own truth and you don't really need to have a citation. You can just say
We're in
this is how it is.
a post-truth world. Yeah, I think so. I would agree with that. Yeah,
Because my truth is my truth, okay, and I don't need a citation for that, okay, because that's just
true.
how
You can
that's
cite
how it is.
yourself. We
That's
should
how
cite
it
our
is.
own website in our proposals just to make use of this.
And Tyler, what truth did you find in this week's implementation of the week?
Wow.
So pretty good.
That's incredible. Just incredible. All righty. So, implementation of the week this week, built out by Cody Georgeson and Jason here on our consulting and development teams. Um, There's an implementation using the Zoho Analytics and Zoho Inventory integration to do some item sales reporting on composite and component items. So Inside of Zoho Inventory, we can essentially create composite items, which is a sellable item that is comprised of like a subset of items that make it up, right? So maybe I sell apples, bananas, and pears. I also sell a fruit basket that has 2 of each. That fruit basket here would be like our composite item. And that's really great, works well. You can bundle them, does your inventory. The challenge that people end up having is that what if I want to pull a report of all the apples I've ever sold, right? Well, if I go ahead and pull that in Zoho Inventory, it doesn't register sales of an apple every time that a sale of a fruit basket is recorded. So you actually aren't really able to get this like unit count identifier of like how many of that component item have I sold. Because you could sell an apple on its own, or you could sell it as part of one or multiple different, fruit baskets. So here, the team was actually, they were able to do something. When they asked me this originally, I told them they weren't going to be able to do it. But they actually sorted out that you can, in fact, pull over the basically a mapping table of component to composite items, as well as like the prices and selling points of each of those. Then we're able to do a little bit of math wizardry that I know John Oda on our finance team also helped with, to kind of attribute through sales of composite items through to their component items at the relevant share of the sales price of those items. So if we normally sell a fruit basket for $10, you have 4 products that each contribute to 50, it would all go, the revenue would be counted equally to each of those. But if those kind of component prices are different, it'll actually split the revenue based on their contributing percent. So it's really slick. It's like very well thought out, and it will actually give our client the ability to know, from a composite or strictly component level, what's the sales velocity and revenue streams from each of these different SKUs. So really nice implementation. This is one that we find ourselves using composite items a lot in inventory. It's kind of a nice way to manage some of those like production or kind of lightweight production steps. And this now kind of allows the client to still get that granular insight of whether we sold an apple alone in bundle A, B, C, or D, doesn't matter. We can still get the count of how many apples we've sold. So really good job to the team. I think it solves a pretty big problem for some people that bump into when they get into Zoho Inventory.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. Very,
great
very,
job.
very nice. Good job, Cody and Jason. So I thought when I read this originally, Zinventory was like a place where I could track all my Zinfandel, like very particular app. How many bottles of wine do you have? You can only put your Zinfandel just in here. The rest we don't care about.
They say startups are supposed to start very specific, solve one problem.
You gotta go for a specific niche and go from
there. A lean boat, right? Lean boat makes it upstream. So
anyway, nice job, Cody and Jason. And with that, let's move on to our code share of the week. Now look at this pretty new code share over here at the new Club Zenatta. I'm loving it. So Greg has given an extremely detailed implement code share here on creating date reference table in Zoho Analytics. He has also given you some downloads that you can set up as workspaces. And tell us about this, Tyler.
Yeah, so essentially this is an idea where, let's say you wanted to pull a report, Brett, and you wanted to know sales based on the day of the week, right? Maybe you're looking for like weekly cycles in your sales. It's not exactly easy, right? Because you have all these dates and you can roll up dates into day, but then every Monday is a different day, right? You could do them in a week and look at cyclical on like a week-based basis. But this is essentially a way where you can download this reference data table from the code share here, load it in, and then drop some SQL code in that will actually kind of give you a date comparator value that's more generalized, right? So now we can know that it's a certain day of the week, it's a certain year. So just kind of a way to open up some additional types of reporting capabilities here based on date values.
Very, very cool. So, and as always, all the code share is over at club.zenatta.com. If you head over there, we did transfer everything to the new platform that we're running on now. So we hope everybody is happy with that, and really nice job there, Greg. All right, let's head over to our read of the week. So I thought this was interesting. This is the top 4 sales technology trends to watch in 2023. Um, that's a little clickbaity because I would say these are the same trends that have been kind of going for years and years and years now. But it's a good article because it's got some value to it. Um, it really talks about, I think, kind of what we preach every single day when
Mhm.
someone comes to us like, "What am I gonna? Oh, I need a CRM." What and most people think, "Oh, I'm gonna take my stuff off spreadsheets and I just want to put it in, so I've got a little bit of organization." But from a sales perspective, um, really the amount of efficiencies that you can gain are tremendous. And so this article just points out a few: prospecting and deal management. Well, of course, they're the top sales tools. And if you talk about, if you watch our CRM uh, webinar that we did this week, Tyler, we can kind of take you through that too. Tech stack consolidation. Well, would that be Zoho one? I would say it would be. Efficiencies and sales rep productivity will be top priorities. How do you make your sales rep more efficient? What kind of automations can you do for them? Something I think you
Yep.
focused on with Zoho as well. Anything anyway, just kind of running through them here. Anything jump out at you at this article?
Yeah, I mean, I think at a high level, right, tech stack consolidation, having your like sales tool directly connected to your marketing tool means you can align those two departments, kind of like RevOps, right? That new trendy kind of department of RevOps, right, that sits between sales and marketing and kind of builds the flow. And then to efficiency and sales productivity. I mean, we talk about this a lot. Let's figure out the things that people are good at doing and have them do that. And the things that people are bad at doing, like remembering to send follow ups, and just let the system handle that for them, right? And so like let your sales reps do things that are high impact, and automate the rest. So we see a lot of this. Is, I think, like you're mentioning, Brett, there's nothing new. It's not unique to 2023. These are honestly a lot of the big reasons that people come to us, right, with interest in moving on to Zoho.
Yep. All righty. And with that, let's head over to Zenatta.com and see what we got going on over there. All righty. So you've got the Zoho CRM full product overview 2023. Tyler, normally we do our CRM webinars in about 40, 45 minutes with Q&A and everything. This one clocked in at a lovely minute and 12.
Hour 12.
Hour
Yeah.
12. Yeah. So we covered a lot. And so that you can read the article on it, which we have here, or you can go over to the YouTube channel and take a look at it. But kind of got a nice breakdown of what we talked about as well here. So much changes with the CRM year after year. This is one of the few. I think we do Zoho one every year. We do CRM every year. We do Desk every year. Is that right?
Pretty
And
much.
that kind of starts off our year, and then we kind of throw some other stuff in as need be with what needs to be updated. I guess some of the key highlights. I mean, what were if you, in your opinion, the big things in 2023 that?
Yeah, kind of big things this year. We did cover kind of our standard run through of just the high level kind of flow of CRM, some of the reporting, some of the core usability things. Like I know you always like to hit custom views because sometimes we'll pick up a client, they don't have any, and everyone's just working from the all leads list. So we do always like to hit some of those staples. We also covered the new email integration. I think that looks differently now since last time we did it. It's kind of in a new place.
Yeah.
And then we did run through some of the new features and focuses around Canvas View for some of the usability, admin tools to kind of keep things clean as you scale, and then some of the ways that Zia is going to continue to poke its head into CRM. So I think well worth taking a look at if you are a CRM nerd.
For sure. And I mentioned this, Sonny. I'm always talking to people and they're like, "Oh, could you do something on this?" And we're always getting asked to do videos. There's a good chance though we've already done it. And sometimes it's maybe hard to find it over on our YouTube channel. So if you are at Zenatta and you click on Resource Library and you click on any of the apps, I'll use CRM since that's what we're talking about. As we've done these webinars and we're doing these things, there's this thing, do you have a video on that? Here, that is where you're going to find all of them categorized. So all of our getting started videos and how to basics and email and mail merge and on and on and on. They're all basically here. If we've got a CRM video, this is the place you're going to look for it. It's the same for any of the applications. Categorize it. Look here first because you might find the answer you are looking for as well. And with that, I guess we should get to our tip of the week. What's Jordan talking about this week, Tyler?
Yeah, this is something that we do for clients who have a lot of inbound lead flow. Not every single person needs this. If a lot of what you're doing is outbound or you get the occasional inbound lead. But essentially what Jordan is going through here is how occasionally we'll build a module, kind of like a pre-lead you can think about, where any web form submission goes there rather than to leads, rather than to contacts, any of those places. And then we run functions to put it in the right place. So, if something gets created, search on that email. If it's already a contact, we'll link the submission to the contact. If it's already a lead, we'll link the submission to the lead. If it's neither, we'll create a lead. When a lead gets converted, we can then move all of those web requests over to the contact that comes out of it. Couple benefits of this, like one, and this actually gets into one of our Q&A questions later, is that people might fill out forms about multiple different things. Like even on our site, it doesn't happen often, but someone could fill out our Zoho consulting form and then a day later fill out our Zoho finance services form, right? Just because maybe we haven't had our meeting yet, or, they wanted to let us know that they're actually interested in both. So sometimes having these kind of like pre-lead modules can be a big value add. They can also be really good for marketing attribution reporting. I won't go down that rabbit hole, but getting like a first last touch out of this data before a sale happens is, very doable. Really good video. Highly recommend taking a watch through on this. If you are a company that runs lots of Google ads or has lots of different inbound leads coming in at different time points, highly recommend you consider a build like this, because it really just does allow you a really good degree of granularity on your data.
Yeah. Super nice. And if you are unaware, you can always head over to youtube.com/Zenatta. And that is where all of our videos are. The whole team is doing a great job coming together, making these videos. Jordan and I watched this video last night. We did fantastic. Greg, of course, has his entire comedy series going on. So if you haven't watched that, I heard he got renewed for a second season and has got a deal over at Netflix
he's
now.
Actually, he's got a Netflix special coming out. I was going to make the same joke. Dang it.
He does. Anyway, this is, all the stuff coming out. If you subscribe and like, every time something new comes out, you'll get notified of it. And if you're a Zoho geek like we all are, you will your evening will be done. You just sit back, relax, and watch the new videos for the night. Just kind of put it in. We need to get it added so when a new video comes out, it shows up on like your Apple TV up next.
Oh, yeah, do some Samsung advertising, Samsung TV
Yeah.
I'm about to buy a Raspberry Pi to block those.
Fantastic. So. All right, with that, let's get to some Q&A. All right, first question from George G. Is it possible to build a form that cycles from question to question rather than a full list form? Better for engagement? Yes, it is. And yes, it's possible.
Yeah, it's actually funny you asked this question now, George. Wayne, our director of marketing, actually posted kind of in one of our Click channels, noticing that this is something that's rolling out. They're calling it cards, I think, instead of forms. It should show up when you press new form. If it does not show up, maybe ping Zoho. They're probably going to roll it out in phases. But if it's not in your Forms account now, you can probably ask nicely to the Zoho Form support team and they'll get it turned on for you. But yes, so this is coming or already available in your account, where you can actually set them up kind of like cards.
All righty. And Andrew, after watching our implementation of the week, Chat GPT integration for Zoho Click via custom bot, one of the coolest ones. We're using it all the time now. He needs a little, wants to know if we'd post a step-by-step video on walking through this. He's getting an error on line 5, airline 7, expected message found. I don't know if we're going to do a video on this, Andrew, but if you want to go over to club.zenatta.com and grab your code and drop it in there and say, what am I doing wrong? You'd probably get an answer with the correct code in just
That'd be a typo. Something went on in the copy paste, or there's a bracket missing somewhere.
Yeah, that's our guess. So if you just want to just drop, I would copy your code, paste it over to Club Z, ask about it. Someone get back to you and figure out what's going on.
Just sort it out.
All righty. And then Almong, after watching our CRM full product tutorial a couple of days ago. I'll try to explain myself better than last time. We are selling multiple courses, and our leads might be interested in a few courses. They are filling out lead forms at various sources. Each course might have a different salesperson in charge, so a lead might get into the CRM multiple times in various time periods. Some of his interest might result in him not being interested in being a qualified lead for conversion. Also, we want the salesperson to see that the lead has had multiple interest and their closing status reason. How do you suggest we handle this kind of scenario?
Say two options, Almog. I mean, first, review Jordan's video. Jordan you'll probably see this through the YouTube comment, but Jordan on our account just posted a video about inbound lead management. Just would have come out a couple days ago. And that is definitely one way you could do this. Essentially have like a web submissions module where all these forms point, and then you use a script to kind of decide what happens next. Other people in your cases, and this really depends on like how qualified, how interested they are, might not use leads, have everything come in as contacts, and then have these point into deals under like a needs qualification stage. So there's a couple different ways you can handle it. I would probably lean towards Jordan's method of using kind of a web submissions module, because then you can still just have that one lead, and you could actually have sales reps work the web submissions. When one of those gets to a certain status, it auto converts the lead and, kind of kicks down the rest of the process. So that's probably how I would look at doing this. It's first just kind of review Jordan's video.
Alrighty. And Bettina, I think that's what my father used to call me when he wanted to torture me as a child. After watching the Zoho Desk Full Product Tutorial 2022 says, is this the $14 plan? No, Bettina, it is not. We are usually almost always referencing the enterprise plan. But, the $14 per month Zoho Desk plan, we actually, since you asked this question and went through, it's got most of the features we talked about. Not really
like your
a lot
ticket
missing.
management, your assignments. You might miss a couple like kind of higher end automations, but most of what we talked about in that tutorial will probably be doable. You might run into a limitation here and there. But while we're starting with that plan, use it and see if you need to upgrade, right? If you start running into limitations, make that value determination at that point, and then probably end up on Zoho One.
Yeah. A better way to healthcare. After watching our Zoho subscriptions full product tutorial from 2 years ago, 2021, asked, why would you choose Zoho subscriptions instead of Stripe subscriptions? Either way, you will be paying the Stripe fees. Just kind of tighter integration inside of Zoho, especially if you're using Zoho Books, there's just some great integration there.
Like the difference,
Stripe,
right, Brett? If things are coming from Stripe, they kind of come in as like a daily batch of all the cash that came through and cleared. Whereas if
correct.
we're using those subscriptions, it'll create an invoice for each customer, and it has a portal they can log in, which Stripe might have. It does dunning management, so if something fails, it'll kind of go. But yeah, it kind of creates more of like a front end UI for you to manage the subscriptions, is all.
Yep. And it integrates nicely. You can do a lot. You can do a lot with it if you're using the Zoho tech stack. After watching last week's or the CRM full product tutorial from this week, was that this week, Tyler? Yes,
it was. Wow.
We are asked, does Zenatta offer real estate templates for Zoho One? In the integration section of Zoho One, there are a couple of real estate templates, but they are for property management. We are residential brokerage, and we only do real estate purchases and sales. We do not offer that. We have dozens and dozens of residential brokerage, purchase, sales listings. Are you probably a listing agent as well, right? And we do all those people. The funny thing is, Tyler, I would think for every single real estate company that's come to us, brokers, they all want to set up different, right? Everybody's got their own little things, but honestly, it's just not that difficult, because we've done so many of them. So
Commonalities, right? There
yeah,
always is going to end up being a property module, right? You're going to have deals against the property. There's some common themes that a lot of real estate agents need, but like Brett's saying, I mean, whether you're in insurance, real estate, e-commerce, I mean, everyone has their own workflow and approach. And what we've found is that if you go from a template, you kind of end up in like a square peg round hole, where like you're going to start having to base your business decisions and business flows around the software configuration, when like you really want to do the opposite, right? You want to define your business flows and needs, hand them to someone like us or anyone, right? And have them build you a custom system that satisfies your requirements. You really want to be careful with templated stuff, unless it just actually checks all your business requirement boxes, right? Everything that you might need.
All righty. And then Anthony James Smith, after watching Automating Zoho Campaigns topic assignment based on CRM tags 2022, says, hey, I like this. How about when they unsubscribe from a topic in campaigns, can we remove the tag from CRM? Sure you can. I would think, Tyler, it's going to write back. You can flag the CRM and then run a
yes
workflow.
No. Yes and no. There isn't really a workflow trigger on an unsubscribe. Maybe if anyone in the chat knows, you might be able to make a segment of people who have unsubscribed from a particular topic and do it that way. The other way would be to pull some data and analytics and write like a scheduler. But I expected, Anthony, when we saw this question, we'll kind of do a little research and go to answer it. I expected this would just be an option using Zoho Flow, like a quick little trigger, come over here, but it is a little bit more complicated. We might need to do maybe a little research, and it might be a good opportunity for a video for us to kind of give a little template on how to do this.
All righty. Fantastic. Brought this in 46 minutes today. Look at us.
Getting actually on time.
Hey, we want to thank everybody who watches our show. We really appreciate your support for Club Z, for our YouTube channel, for everything we do here. We hope you find it useful. If you want to get in touch with Tyler and myself, you can head over to Zenatta.com and click on Book a Meeting. And as always, please participate in our community over at club.zenatta.com. You will find a lot of free and helpful people over there.
And on the website is where you'll also find complete episodes of the show, as well as show notes with links to all the stories we discussed today. We'd love if you would subscribe to our newsletter, where we'll send you out all the Zoho news every single week, as well as subscribe to us here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We will see you next Friday.
We got a quick little question that dropped in from Lab Carn, so I'm going to answer it as we get played out here. Is marketing automation ready over campaigns?
No.
It is not quite yet. They have not yet released the updates, so still stick with campaigns. There's a lot going on there, and maybe we can cover a little bit of that on our next episode, Lab. All right. Everybody have a great weekend.